Hello, welcome to Chapter 2, Lesson 2. Today we're going to be talking about percents and fractions. So I wanted to start off with a key concept here. This is on page 102. I'm skipping 101. And where it says a percent is a ratio, okay? A ratio that compares a number to 100, okay? So percent, I kind of think about it as there are 100 cents in a dollar, so that's kind of how I remember. That's per 100. Percent per 100. So an example would be 45% is the same as 45 out of 100, or 45 hundredths if I was going to write it in fraction form. There's a little model for you too, where we're coloring in a 100 grid with 400. So there's 100 little squares. We would color in 45 of them out of 100, and that would show 45%. We've used those with decimals too. And then another, like showing it on a, what's that called? Kind of like a fraction, where we cut it into 10 equal pieces. So 45% would be a little less than half, which makes sense because 45% is less than 50%. So to write a percent as a fraction, first we're going to write the percent as a rate per 100, then simplify. So let's jump right in. Okay, our first example here says we need to write 50% as a fraction in simplest form. 50% means 5 out of 100, so I would just write 50 over 100. That's just our definition of percent, and that's why we can do it. Then I'm going to simplify. I could divide both by 50, divide by 50, and I would get 1 over 2, or a half. In a recent survey, 55% of cell phone owners said they text message. What fraction of cell phone owners is this? So we're going to take our percent, put it over 100, simplify, dividing both by 5 to get 11/20ths. 11/20ths of cell phone owners text message. Okay, let's do 38. It's a little trickier. So we just put it over 100 because percent. And simplify. I'm going to divide both by 2, and I'm going to get 38 divided by 2 is 19 over 50. Now I know 19 is prime, so I'm good to go there. Example 3 here. We have 35%. Put it over 100. Simplify. If I have 35 over 100, I could divide them both by 5. And I would get 7/20ths. Wonderful. Write the fraction of rentals that were horror movies. So it would be 5%, which would be 5 out of 100. I can divide them both by 5 and get 1/20th. 1/20th were horror movie rentals. Now to go the other way, to write a fraction as a percent, we either need to get our denominator to be 100, or, well, I think that's what we're pretty much going to be doing today, so let's do that. So there's other ways with the whole dividing the top by the bottom, right, going from a decimal to a percent, but we're going to tackle that later. But so we have 6/8, and I have to think, how can I get 8 to equal 100? Well, I can't, but I could reduce this, and then maybe that would work. Let's divide them both by 2, and I would get 3/4. Oh, 4, I can multiply that by 25 and multiply my numerator by 25, and then I would get 75 hundredths. So that would be the same as 75%, which is what they got here. Wonderful. So this is just the ratios that we talked about last chapter, where we can divide our ratios, numerator and denominator, by the same number. And then that should help us to be able to get to 100 when we're trying to find that percent. So again, let's go down here to 9/12ths. 9/12ths, 12 doesn't go into 100. Well, let's divide it and see if we can get a number that does. Divide by 3, divide by 3. Oh yes, we're going to get 3/4 again, which is fine. Then we already know we can multiply by 25, whoa, that's a 2, over 25. So I'm going to get 75 over 100, which is equal to 75%. 75%. Okay, now what are they doing here? 12 out of 40 is equal to, okay, so this is kind of the same thing we've been doing, so I'm going to jump down to here, do a couple of guided practice problems, and then we'll be done. So each percent as a fraction. So when we're going from percent to fraction, we just need to write our percent over 100 and simplify. I'm going to divide them both by 5s to get 3/20ths. And that would be simplest form. Let's do 80 over 100. Maybe your brain would have thought, hey, I can do 8 over 10. And divide by 2, and I would get 4/5, which would be in simplest form. 4/5. 33% would be 33 over 100, and that is already in simplest form. Okay, let's go down here to go from fraction to percent. Okay, so if I have 3/10, I know I can multiply both by 10 to get a denominator of 100, so I'd have 30/100ths, which would be 30%. 3/20ths, I can multiply that by 5, multiply by 5, and get 15/100ths, or 15%. 2/5, I can multiply by 20 over 20 to get 40/100ths, or 40%. Okay? So this is pretty straightforward. I wanted to really talk about this though, so you guys can get to more of the word problems in our assignment and really kind of dig deeper into percents and fractions. So hopefully this will go pretty good, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.